Let's see, today's December 28th, 2021 for the Littleton Conservation Commission. We have quorum. Welcome, everyone. So we're going to get going. So we're going to start with approving the minutes. Does anyone have any omissions or corrections to the minutes dated for December 14th? I just had one that I mentioned to Amy to make reference of how many years Anna has been with the commission. I think it was 8 or 9, but I don't remember. So if we add that, does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Delete.
They looked good.
All right, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from, let me get my agenda up here. The meeting minutes from December 14th, 2021 as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Who would like to do it?
Roll call vote. Chase.
Chase, aye.
Carl Carl.
Carl Melberg, aye.
Brian.
Brian Crowley, aye.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
And myself, aye. It's unanimous.
All right, thank you. Do we have any administrative discussions that we would like to add? I just have one, and that's to really come to closure on, we started a conversation on Pete Tierney's bench, so I'd like to try and come circle on that. And then just while the weather's still good, if people have not had an opportunity to go out to see some of the sites, if they could kind of just put that in the forefront for them as well. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Lot 6A Grimes update. Amy, can you fill us in?
Yep, I was out there. This picture is actually from just before Christmas. So they've got the foundation in and the gravel, and they never did have to dewater. So I didn't get it. I was going to get a picture today, but I ran out of time. But they seem to be moving ahead.
Okay. That's good news. No dewatering. Okay.
No dewatering, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's touch base. We had a discussion on Pete Tierney's bench. Let's I want to try and close out some of these things that we've talked about before. We've got like $50. We have to decide, do we want to put it, where do we want to put it? Using one of the ones that's already built. And how would we like to memorialize that? Thoughts, anybody?
So I think at the last meeting, we discussed attaching it to one of the new benches that Stephanie Mullen had installed. And actually, I was thinking since our last meeting that maybe a really good spot would be if you go to the end of Colonial Drive at Long Lake Park and you take a right on the red Terone Loop Trail, there's a bench right there that sits across from the landing at Prouty. It's a really beautiful view, and I think that'd be a great area. Or, I mean, the field up at Long Lake Park would be great as well. But I really like that spot. Okay.
So that's awesome. Do we want to go with a plaque and really drill it in, or do we want to try and find a way to kind of like wood burn it in?
I think wood burning would probably be best, because actually across the lake at Prouty, there's a really beautiful bench that Rick Finley had put in for this gentleman 8 or 9 years ago, and the plaque is so scratched on it, you can't even read it anymore. So I'm thinking, yeah.
How do you do that? Do we have to carry the bench out?
No, we'll probably try and pop one of those boards.
Yeah.
So however, we have to see how that's installed. If not, we'd have to cut one of those boards out and then find a like one in. And you could actually make it so it's an accent strip that goes in as well. So I don't know exactly how long that bench has been there, if it's weathered or not, but it may even have to be a different material in order to engrave it. So, but somebody would just use a scroll saw. So, okay. All right. I see that Rick Finley just jumped on. Do we want to just run that bench by him?
Yeah, because he might have an idea too about the plaque piece of it. Because I know, and I'm not gonna remember who it was. LCT was talking about using the Long Lake Hill bench for somebody else whose name escapes me right now to kind of go with the Art Lazarus Trail.
Okay. So Rick, I see that you're on. I'm not sure if you can hear us or not. If you are, if you're able to unmute, we just wanted to kind of engage you in a quick conversation about Pete Tierney's bench, which Andrew will reiterate again the location that we're thinking from. So assuming that you can hear us, Rick.
I can hear you. I do hear you. Just popped in, so I missed all that. But
Andrew, can you do that?
So, Rick, we were thinking for Pete Tierney's memorial bench, we were going to add a plaque to one of the new benches that Stephanie Mullen put in at Long Lake Park. And I was thinking the bench over along the shore at Long Lake Park, like if you get to the end of Colonial Drive, or right, do you think that would be a good location for that?
sure, that could be fine.
And then we had discussion, Rick, about perhaps not doing a plaque because it would wear and etch and not do well over time, to maybe pop one of those boards and just have it routed in some type of engraving.
I think I'm in the middle of trying to figure out how to do the plaques. I think the plaques can work. It's just a matter of getting the right ones. I've not been that successful in the past, but I'm waiting for some more information. But I do think a plaque would be fine.
Rick, if you and I want to talk later, the horse plaques that we put on stalls, we can have 3 different lines. We can try one of those. They're reasonable. We can get it in brass or plastic that might last. So you and I can talk about that. I'm happy to work on that.
That would be fine.
It might be easier to replace a plaque if it needs replacing than a whole board.
Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Rick.
Sure.
Okay. We don't have any other administrative updates. So now we have the continued public hearing, abbreviated notice, resource area delineation 410 Great and 450 King Street. Anyone here to speak to that?
Yes, I will be speaking for that.
Okay, you have the floor. Please introduce yourself.
So I'm Robert Melvin from Stamsky and McNary. I'm representing Joseph Collins on the ANRAD for 410 Great Road. I will just share my screen. So on the plan, we've updated the flags to reflect the one that was added at the site walk. I think it was 2 Sundays ago. It's right here, 31A. Just kind of expanded it a little bit. And then we have the isolated wetland right here, also isolated land subject to flooding. And then this is the great big wetland right here. I also have a colorized figure for the commission with the new wet flag in there as well.
So the commissioners that had an opportunity to go out and see the site, would you want to add any narrative to this?
I think that would have just been Kyle, who is not here.
Oh.
But it's very steep slopes down almost all of it. And where we moved the flag was one of the shallower areas, if you will. And at least along part of the road, it looked like CDM Smith had also flagged it. I talked to Maggie about that. I think that was for the treatment plan or something, investigations they were doing. And the flags were basically in agreement with what's already there. It didn't do the whole area, but it did some of it.
And I went to go take a look at it, and the grade really defines the location as best as I could tell. So it's not surprising to me to see not much change here.
Any of the commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, Carl does. Is this adjacent to the Fields over 50 project, over 55 project down on White Street?
I am actually not familiar with that project.
Maybe one of the other commissioners. I was trying to get an idea of where it is. Is it off of White Street or off of
No, this is more off of Great, I think.
Yeah, you can see, Robert, I think you can show them where the traffic light is between King Street and Great Road.
Yeah,
On the left-hand side.
right here off the
Yeah.
screen.
And the 495 ramps start just on the right side.
Yep.
Robert, you know where the wood stove shop is? Off-
Yeah.
Off of White Street. If you could point your cursor to where that is.
Um,
But you
I'm
see
act-
Littleton Lumber.
Yep.
yeah.
So it's actually up to the top right where you've got your colored locus.
Right there. Whoop,
Oh,
down
I
a bit.
see.
Yep.
Is it this one right here?
Yeah, so Carl, there's a road. So you'd have to cross the road to get to the over 55.
So I'm just trying to figure out if I was trying to picture it in my mind where this is. So if I'm
You-
going,
you
do I drive,
remember-
do I drive into where the entrance to Littleton Lumber and the stove shop are, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah, Littleton Lumber you would. Yep.
So I drive in Littleton Lumber and then where do I go?
To the
your
left.
Oh, take
So when you turn it into White Street, you're kind of elevated. You got wetlands on either side of you. This is off as you're coming in from Great Road and turn into White Street. And that building on the top, those two buildings, that's the store, Littleton Lumber store.
Yeah, right.
Carl, do you remember quite a while ago when we were working back on the point when they were redoing the road and the water and everything going in? We had that big discussion about putting that big Gambian wall in.
Yes.
We ended up not doing. That's kind of like that area.
Oh, okay. So is this just a resource delineation so far? We don't have
Correct.
nothing going in there at this point.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a quick question about this one? And it sort of comes up because of a different project on King Street, but do we have any stormwater discharges to this wetland from either from Great Road or from 495?
So I did go out there looking at some of the catch basins that were around the area. So like on Hillside Avenue right here, which I believe connects to King Street somewhere down the line, there were a few catch basins there, and they actually were directed towards King Street. And I know there were some more catch basins along Great Road that were also separate from the system. The only source we know of was it's right here where it says approximate location of storm drain. There was a catch basin there that it looked like was draining to this big wetland here. Other than that, we didn't see anything out there.
And by didn't see any, you mean you didn't see any pipes discharging to the wetlands?
No, just that one from the catch basin here. There was like a head wall in the wetland around this area.
And I guess the reason I bring it up, and it's not that I think you're necessarily missing anything, but it's come to our attention that there were certain, let's say when 495 was built, the state was somewhat flexible with respect to where they put some of their stormwater discharges from 495.
Mhm.
Given this proximity to 495, I think to put it on your radar is something to pay attention to with respect to the design here. It wouldn't shock me to find some pipe or discharge here.
Mhm.
So Chase, are you asking for him to do more discovery then?
Not necessarily. If they don't have a reason to believe there is some, and they've looked, this is a real needle in a haystack kind of thing.
Right, but looking when there's no flow, when we haven't had rain or, an event, it could be just a miscalculation of the wrong day.
I guess I don't see it as changing the wetland delineation. And with respect to this as an ANRAD, I'm okay with this based on the vegetation and so on. But when it comes time to actually put forward a project, they may need to pay more attention to that.
Okay. So Amy, what are you looking for us to do with this tonight?
I assume vote to approve the ANRAD to show the resources. It's boarding vegetated wetland and isolated land subject to flooding.
Okay, I didn't know if you needed anything else from the applicant or if you thought we were good to go.
I think we have anything. We even have a DEP file number, which is a minor miracle right now.
Okay. Okay, is there a commissioner that would like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the ANRAD for 410 Great Road for the, well, let's just leave it at that, the ANRAD for 410 Great Road.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Roll call.
Roll call vote. Brian,
Brian Crowley, aye.
Carl,
Tom Alberg, aye.
Chase,
Chase Gerbeck, aye.
Sarah,
Sarah Seward, aye.
and myself, aye. It's unanimous.
Okay. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Anna, we have a question for you. Can you, to clarify for our notes, on the commission, 8 years or 9 years?
Since 2012. So it was 9. I think it's 9.
Awesome. And then Rick, I see that you're on. Is there something that we can help you with? We have a very short meeting tonight.
Nope, I'm just checking in, just seeing what you're up to.
Not much. Okay. Does anyone have anything else? Amy, do you have anything?
I feel like I should, but I don't.
Okay. So let's just briefly recap on our meeting dates. Amy was good enough to send along the outline of our dates. So we're looking at January 11, January 25, and then we'll get into February 8 and 22. So I think we're on a solid mark. And so with the people that have postponed, we have done some site walks. They're just still working through the holiday and trying to gather more information. So I think while we're quiet tonight, we might get backed up a little bit for 1 or 2 at some point. But
And
if,
I actually did want to mention the, you may have noticed I'm doing the project information a different way. Rather than attaching to the calendar, I've got it over on the left-hand side of the website by project, so that especially for, I don't know, a project like Healy Corner, which goes on forever, you don't have to keep going through the calendar to try to find the old stuff. It'll be all in one place.
okay. Awesome.
But let me know if that's annoying or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw your note about that. It sounds, I haven't looked at it, but it sounds much better.
What it's going to mean though is that within no time there's going to be like 50 projects over there.
Yeah.
But they'll be arranged by address
Right.
or
Perfect.
something.
Do we have someone that would like to officially close our meeting this evening and put a motion forward?
Sarah, one question before we close. I'm sorry. What's the status of the transmission line in RAD and the site walks? I know there was some effort to make those a somewhat more efficient process, and I was curious where we ended up there.
Yep. So that was one that I was referring to. They postponed because they do need to do a little bit more discovery and answer some questions. Kyle, Amy, and I went out the other day and saw a good stretch of it. So have a better understanding of access, matting. She was going to come in tonight, but we felt as though she's still getting more answers as well. There was one little pocket that came up that we asked her to go back and look at. Amy, do you have something to add to that?
No, I don't think so. I did finally, I ripped all the plans out and I have them in a big long roll plan. If you want to see the whole stretch,
Yeah.
that is quite a,
It's quite intensive. It encompasses 6 towns. So, and it seems like most of those 6 towns, they put the power lines through the inexpensive wetlands at the time. So,
and she
But-
did say,
Are
I
there
think she's,
any areas that you took a look at that would be worthwhile for us to take a closer look at, those commissioners who weren't able to view them with the applicant?
yeah, I think perhaps when she comes in, she'll have some better answers for us. So I think not before the next meeting, Chase, but I think after that one. So I don't think that we're going to be able to kind of have everything consolidated for the next one meeting. I think there'll be some good dialogue and then another one. I could be
So what
wrong.
you're
but
telling me is I don't have homework between now and next meeting?
I don't think so. I mean, what are your
That's
thoughts?
really what I
you
wanted
could,
to-
if you wanted to do a site walk before the next meeting.
Yep.
I can find out when she thinks she will have information back on that little pocket wetland area. 'Cause if
That pocket
gets-
and then the Blood Road.
Yeah, that's just a plan change. But if she, if she changes the pocket, that might be worth going out and looking at before the meeting.
Okay.
If anybody wants to, I'm sure she would come up for another site walk, or I can just take people to a couple places.
I'm happy to go back out. So if anybody wants to go out, it's super easy to access.
Okay.
Just shoot us an email.
Amy, maybe you and I should just coordinate then, because certainly if there's acutely sensitive areas, I'd like to put eyes on those before making a decision about it. But
Yeah, and I did check Blood Road. Their proposed access is not up Blood Road. It's up through Matheson's property and a little bit of Blood Road. So they'll be coming off a Great Road through Matheson. They will not be coming up all the way up Blood, which for Blood is probably a good thing.
Okay. So let's just be cautious because the applicant is not here. So, so Chase, if you want to touch base with Amy and go out and see, there's just literally 2 areas that you could pop right in.
okay, very good. Sorry to extend this a couple minutes. Thanks for the.
No, that's good. And I'll let everybody know if anybody else wants to jump in on that walk too.
I think that would be great. Well, we will be seeing everyone after New Year's. Anna, sorry for your resignation. Nice to see that you joined us, though.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
bye,
my
Anna.
last official meeing, I guess.
We hope to see you often with your hand raised.
Yeah, I'll have to practice that. Hey, Fred. Oh, hey, Rick, you have your hand up.
Hey, well, no, I just wanted to say goodbye to you too. I hope I see you. We'll be working on garlic mustard in the spring.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I have tons of it on my old property there. So, yeah, I'll be there visiting there for that poll.
Okay.
Well, I wish everyone a happy and healthy start to the new year.
And the same to you.
Mask up.
Likewise.
Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn
Move to
before we
adjourn.
start clicking off?
Mhm.
I think Chase got it.
So adjourning 7:52, motion by Chase. I second it.
Roll call vote. Chase.
Aye.
Ryan.
Brian Crowley, aye.
Carl.
Carl Melberg, aye.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
And myself, aye. All right. Happy New Year, everybody.